obviously that's going to go well. We just changed the cheese to this Maytag blue cheese, which is very robust cheese, but creamy and nice like mozzarella. The onion goes perfectly with this. The grilled asparagus goes perfectly with this.
And you chose red onion, which, by the way, is a fairly aggressive onion. You need to have some powerful digestive tracts to get the baby going.
You know, the red onion is nice because of the color, and also I think some people find it a little sweeter.
Do you do trickery on the onion? You marinate it in vinegar beforehand, or
absolutely
just
not.
Sliced and put right on with it?
You know, and it's just a little bit of a garnish. It's not too much. We don't want to use too much to do it. And it really adds that really fresh, beautiful flavor that we're looking for in Italian food. We had this conversation last night about the perfection of the ingredients, right? Look at these tomatoes. These are beautiful, right?
Look at that.
Okay, so
it's
look
perfect.
here. Our asparagus is going.
You know what? I am really looking forward to see the presentation of this. As a matter of fact, for those of you watching the two of us interacting like this, wrapping about, so to speak, in a culinary sense, I'm going to come back in just a moment. And what we're going to do is going to show you exactly how to actually assemble this dish so that when you make it for your guests, you make it for your family, you make it for your friends, you look exactly as a great professional chef. So stay tuned, because when we're coming back, we're going to show you the secret on how to put this dish together to turn your home into your favorite restaurant.
Excellent.
Stay with us. Well, Kent, here we are back. For all of you at home, I want to show you exactly how is that he makes this salad and presents it at the restaurant, because the presentation is very important.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, that is, you eat with your eyes first. And,
first and foremost.
But before we start that, I want to talk a little bit about getting ready and prepping.
You know what you just did?
What?
First and foremost.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Like a football player.
I'm sorry.
Like, which
I
way
was trying
is
to
he
get
coming?
organized. No,
that's the point, though. Getting organized.
In all my classes, I talk about, when you cook for people and when you do something, number one, you don't want to do something you haven't done before for a special dinner.
Especially for a special dinner.
Never. You don't want to stress yourself out. And number two, you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to prep, because when your guests arrive, they want to be having a glass of wine with you, looking at all this beautiful
stuff. The idea is, the
stuff.
way you have it laid out right here is the way you would like for people at home that are going to be trying this recipe.
When
right before the guests arrive, have all this already done this way. And
Absolutely.
then it's going to be a very simple assemblage.
Well, and then instead of you trying to cook in front of them and trying to really do some work, you're just kind of assembling and putting things
Talking
together.
about work, let's get rolling. Show me what you're going to do.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have these beautiful tomatoes laid out.
Okay.
And you know what? I always like to season the tomatoes first. So I'm going to ask you to season those with
I'd be delighted to.
with some salt and pepper. And while you're doing that, I'm going to cut these grape tomatoes, which are really beautiful, to be able to add to these. And these are like candy. These things, especially in the summer, they're just so sweet and nice.
In Sicily, we have a kind that we call pacchini.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful little name. These are splendid.
Yeah. So,
just shimmering.
Now, the other thing, too, is I was going to point out are these beautiful heirloom tomatoes, which, as you know, there's so many varieties.
The enormous amount of variety. We can never get the name straight.
Can never get the name straight.
Somebody once told me one of those tomatoes was called Mortgage Pusher. I go, you got to be kidding me. I think actually they were kidding.
Exactly. So now we have some beautiful tomatoes laid out here. Okay, we're going to.
Can I have that? Can I have that?
Yeah, you can have that.
Thank you.
Try that. So now we have our grilled asparagus. It's still warm, by the way, and it doesn't have to be hot. As long as it's not really cold, because the olive oil sort of congeals
on it. Like a
it.
painting. I'm really curious to see what you do next.
We just put this up here and just kind of freelance this, okay, a little bit. I like a little height. All right.
Works
we
for
have
me.
our beautiful grilled chicken breast, which we're going to slice. Maybe 1/4 inch thick.
And the part that you were saying is also when you cook it, to cook it until it's still somewhat raw on the inside, just a little bit. So when it cools down completely, like a piece of meat, by the way.
Exactly.
It's nice, and not to put any foil over it, because the foil induces steam,
right,
and that changes the texture of the chicken altogether.
A lot of people don't realize that resting meat is something that's very, very important. And what I mean by that is what you just said, where you take the piece of meat and you sort of let it relax from its heat, because the heat that you put into chicken or beef or any kind of meat tends to toughen it up. And so once it cools a bit, it always relaxes a bit. And look at how this is coming together.
I'm going to be like a head chef in a restaurant now. Say, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, give it to me in 2 minutes.
2 minutes, we can do that.
What are you going to do in 2 minutes?
Okay, so then we're going to finish this with some garnish. We're just going to use a little bit of fresh red onion ring, just right on top.
I got to tell you,
this is nothing fancy.
I love what you're doing. Very soft, very subtle.
Very nice. I'm going to ask you to put a little cheese on here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put the vinaigrette first, okay? And we're just going to kind of just dress the salad just a bit. And you can put a little bit on the chicken if you like, just kind of moisten it, although it's beautifully moist, okay? Sprinkle a little cheese on there. And while you're doing that, I'm going to chiffonade some basil.
You got it.
And you know what chiffonade is, of course.
No, I don't know what chiffonade is. It's a French word. I do not know French.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know chiffonade, this is a beautiful way to do a little julienne basil. And what's wonderful about this is that, you know, basil is one of those kind of
Look
herbs.
at the knife. I know somebody
Look at
that
that.
once was talking to me. Next thing you know, almost lopped up the finger.
Oh my gosh, I got to watch.
Then I know of another guy was coming out of a car,
Yeah.
not paying attention. Got a
Which
hit on
happened
the
this
left
morning.
eye.
Thank goodness for makeup, I can tell you that right now. And then we're just going to put a little chiffonade basil on the top of that. Now, I'm going to promise you, if you build that individually or as a big platter, you've got a beautiful meal right there.
I have to tell you, this is fantastic. And I purposely put a lot of pressure on you.
Oh.
I played it like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And what I found wonderful about it is that it was very easy for you to withstand because you had everything here in front of you. So
Absolutely.
the lesson that you passed on to the viewers at home, and see how much, how important it is. Nice, comfortable, you just simply reach right, reach left, you had everything. You were able to talk about the chicken. This is a very simple salad, but what I love about it is how splendid it is, how wonderful it looks, and how easy it is to make. And I think you're going to have an audience out there from now on will say, Nick, who's that guy? Kent. Kent is the guy I like to go for.
I hope so.
We'll see you next week right here for more recipes and more wonderful friends. Arrivederci a tutti. Ciao.
To learn more about Chef Stellino, his guests, and this series, including recipes, stories, and culinary tips, visit us online at nickstellino.com. The companion cookbook to Nick Stellino Cooking with Friends is available for $34.95 plus shipping and handling. A DVD containing selected recipe demonstrations from this series is also available. To order, please call 1-800-937-5387 or visit us online at nickstellino.com.